Welcome to the Transformer Unicorn Tales. I'm Katie, your ever transforming host. This is a podcast about awesome transformations, food, for thought, and occasionally unicorns. I am so excited that you're here listening to this. Let's get started. Hello and welcome to another episode of the Transformer Unicorn Tales podcast. This is already the second episode in this season, and I'm going to start off with a fun fact, which is also related to today's topic, which is no excuses, just get started. Just start doing things, and then you will learn on the go and get better as you go. So this is the second episode in the season, but actually I'm recording it like 30 minutes after the first one, while there's probably a little bit of a longer period of time before I share this episode. And what happened, if you are watching this on YouTube, I recorded the first episode where I usually sit when I work, and then I thought maybe I can have like a little bit of a nicer background, because like I said, I don't want to use like a green screen or AI stuff behind me. I just want to share where I live. I think that's also like kind of like I like to look at like people's backgrounds. Let's just say it like that. And maybe you do too. So this is another corner of my living room. So normally I actually sit like on the other side, and now I'm just sitting on the other side of that. This is what I see when I work, basically. And if you're like just listening to the podcast, let me like do like a description. So normally when I work, I see like these cute little decorations on the wall, and I have the shadows up so that I look outside and I see trees, which you cannot see now because if I pull up the shades, all you see is just light. And yeah, so I thought I would just share that I'm now trying like a different setup because I think this is maybe a little bit of a more calmer background, and it just looks nicer. So also there are like I said, there are no excuses. You just get started, record, and then see what happens. So I am coming from a yoga world, so I will be sharing about my yoga journey, what happened in these previous months, years. So let me just share a little bit about that journey. I started my yoga teacher training in an Airbnb. I was just there for I think like a month, and I thought, okay, I think now it's time to start that teacher training for me. And then I just signed up for one. It was online, by the way, and it was like a super tiny space. So what I had to like push the little table to the side so that I would have enough space to practice. And that's where I started with my yoga journey as a teacher. And then when that Airbnb finished, that's when I moved in with my boyfriend, and I started teaching him and his family in this building where there were no windows. If you know me for a while, that was also like a running joke, like, Katie, do you already have windows? And I was like, no. But it was summer, so it was okay, yeah. It wasn't cold. There were sometimes just birds flying in, but just sharing my honest starts, right? So that's where I started. And it's never just a one thing, because yes, it was a building without windows, but it was summer and I could see the sea, and I could sometimes also hear the sea from that house. So who the fuck needs windows? And then I got a yoga room. So maybe a little explanation about why there was a building without windows is because he was renovating the apartments that he and his family had. And so after a while, he said, you can have this room for your yoga. And then we just finished that room a little bit up. Like there was also no floor, so there was a floor now. And I could use that for my yoga, and I absolutely loved that space. And then I moved back to the Netherlands, and I was teaching for my parents' living room. I would literally just send them out while they were watching a movie, and I'd be like, I have to give a class. Bye. So that was also part of my journey. And now I am living in a caravan in a camping And if you've ever been in a caravan, it's pretty small. So what I did to be able to teach is I literally removed the living room furniture. Maybe I'm gonna share like a picture. I don't know how to do that yet, but I'll figure it out as we go. Or wear the shirt. Maybe on the website. There will be also a blog post. And then I will show the picture. So there was like this seating area and we just ripped it out. And now I made it like into a nice yoga nook. It's literally like 1/5 of my house is now just a yoga mat at my home studio. Yeah. So like I said, this episode is about having no excuses. If you really want something, you can make it happen. And also it's never just one thing. So I try to now like balance out like, it's been a cool journey and look at me now, but also that there has been like challenges. And within each challenge, there have also been like these blessings, like, to be able to live with my boyfriend, to have a space that I can upgrade into a yoga studio, to live in a beautiful camping. It's really calm here and everything. But also my house is leaking. It's winter now, and sometimes I also cannot record because there's just too much rain and noise. Yeah, it's never just one thing. So as things happen, you just gotta keep like shifting and figuring out how you can move forward. And then mm, the more you practice this, the better you also become. So that's, I think, like one of the things that has really shifted for me this past year or years. Like it has been in the building, I guess. I don't know, it's like been developing inside me. Is that I'm okay to like fail and then stand up and then to keep going. Because in the past, I would have been like, I can just do something else, or be like, okay, that obviously didn't work out, so I'll just try something else. Or don't even get started. I would be like, I have this cool idea, but I would need this and this and this, and I don't have those, so maybe I just do something else. But yeah, so today is about no excuses. If you really want something, you're just gonna get started. And as you go, you will get better. And to make it more specifically about the yoga, I had, for example, beach yoga classes, and sometimes nobody would show up. I would just be practicing yoga on my own on the beach, which is like a whole other confidence building exercise for yourself to just be alone at a beach and practice yoga while it's like full with people in bikinis and just sunbathing. And yeah, so I just want to share some tips about that. Is so even if there is no one, whatever you do, you show up and you do it for yourself because it will still be a learning experience. Like I think that's why like podcasting or just recording these kind of videos is really low key because you don't expect anyone to show up. You just kind of do it for yourself. And then yes, of course when you share it, you hope someone will listen, you hope someone will watch. But yeah, maybe nobody will, but you have to keep going. You have to keep showing up and then keep going for yourself so that you can get better. And when things go well, so when I, for example, finally started to have some students or just people interested, or, I don't know, hit a certain number on an Instagram post or something, like people are watching, write them down. So those moments when things go right, write those down. Because this is also something that I wouldn't do in the past. I would be like, okay, so finally there's someone coming to my class. Now I have to make this like the best class ever. And I have to like, do my best for them and hope that they will come back and not take a moment to just stop and be like, they signed up. Maybe they paid if it's a paid class. Look at me, I'm doing it. This is what I just hoped yesterday, right? So why am I already setting a new goal instead of just being in this moment and celebrating this win? Yeah, so when things go right, write them down. But also when things go wrong, write them down. Because then you can learn from them. So for example, with the podcast, I just said like I don't know where to share the pictures, but I realized like a moment later, of course I do, because I just do the blog, which I already did in previous seasons. So I share a blog post and then I will share pictures there. But it goes for anything else. So maybe you go, okay, for example, for me, I'm teaching now at this location that I don't really like. And I thought, what if I just write down what I don't like? And then next time when I look for another place to teach, I can make sure to keep those in mind. So when things go wrong, you don't necessarily write down like I'm a failure, I didn't prepare enough and stuff like that, but more things that you can change or you would want to change. So like I said, like the location maybe, if you don't speak really loud, maybe you need a microphone. So like student couldn't hear me, I need a microphone, those kind of stuff. Yeah. And when you don't like something about something, change it. So for example, with that location, I am planning on just ending my classes there because I really, really don't like that location. It's like not for yoga. Um, it doesn't matter how many cute little lights or candles I put out. It's too noisy and stuff like that. So change it. I am talking to another studio that I really like. It's nice and calm. It's like my vibes. And I'm thinking, okay, maybe I can like take my classes there. But it goes for anything. So even just from 30 minutes ago when I recorded the first episode for this season, I was like, I'm not sure if I really like the background. So I moved. I changed it. I wasn't like, I don't know what to do. It's not ideal, but I guess I'll just do it because that's what we often do, right? We're like, it's not ideal, so I'll just do it, or I don't know how to change it. Well, take a moment to think about it, or write down what's wrong, and then change it. So let me just recap this part. This is about, the more you practice, the better you get. But how do you do that? Is you keep showing up. When things go well or wrong, you write them down. And when you don't like something, you change it so that you also develop and get better at stuff. And then maybe some tips to get started. Be that your next project or if you're just starting out in the yoga world or anywhere else. These are like more also technical stuff. Yeah. More from like what I'm doing right now also with my business. So almost all software has a free version. So for example, for me to record a podcast, like really just to do the recording, I don't pay anything. It's free. I do it on my Zoom right now. And of course you can always upgrade later, right? But there are like so many free software out there. If like cost is what's holding you back, that's a lame excuse because it's also like my superpower. Like when someone is like, Katie, I don't know if I have the money to build a website. I'm like, here are like 17 options to build a free website. Or like, yeah, I don't know how to do like YouTube videos, because that costs money. I don't know. And I'm like, how? No, of course you can do like just upload and it's done. Like no money involved. Um, and if you make costs, this is also something that I'm like learning right now, to be honest. If you make costs, think about how you can balance it out. So maybe you're thinking, I need a few yoga mats if I want to teach at my own place, right? So that people can come and just stay on those mats, for example. And how you would balance it out is to then think, okay, so these yoga mats will be 100 euros, for example. So I need to make 100 euros to balance that cost out, right? And then you can think, okay, how many students would I need to show up for the class? Or how much should I ask for this class to balance those costs out? And then there you have it. Then it's also not really a cost anymore, but more like a learning experience that is balanced out or maybe even making money for you. And yeah, this is also something that I'm learning currently, because I'm really good at like getting excited and then just getting the stuff to like make it the best experience for someone. And then thinking, okay, but they already paid me an amount, for example, and then I'm like, yeah, but now it's not balanced anymore. And another thing to get started is to do it for yourself, because it's fun and because you want to try something out. So not because it has to perform and make you money and to like reach certain goals or whatever, but to just see what it is. So for example, with the podcast, with the YouTube stuff now, I was just like, I'm just gonna set up something somehow, record it, and I'm just going to upload it and see if I actually like doing this. I also said in the previous episode, I am not going to cut or edit these. And I love how like right now there's like a bird screaming really loud outside. My mic is supposed to cut those out, but I just think it's really funny. Like the moment I'm saying I'm not cutting or editing anything, there's something going wrong. Again, will not be edited out, so you can listen to this right now as we go. But yeah, so when you want to get started with something, do it for yourself in the first place because you are curious about what it is or how it could work out. And make it fun. So not that it has to perform or have a certain goal, because I feel like there's a lot of that out there. Like, it has to make $1 million in a week because that's what other people do with whatever. Or you need a billion views on your first YouTube video. Don't do it for that. Do it because you enjoy it, because it's fun. And also because if you start off like that, even if it's not fun, you can be like, that wasn't really fun. I guess I'll just stop. And there won't be like, oh, but I didn't make 6 figures with this. It will be just like, okay, next. I didn't like it, so I'm gonna change it and then keep going. Yeah. So do it for yourself. And it is okay if you don't like something. But I think I wanted to like point this out as well. When you start a new thing, there are like two types of not liking something. Not liking because you really do not like it or enjoy it, and you're like, this really sucks. I tried it, but this is really not for me. And the other side is it's just uncomfortable because it's new. Yeah. So there's like the stuff where like giving your first yoga class will always guaranteed be a bit of like nervous experience, right? Where you're like, I'm doing this. But it doesn't mean you hate it. It just means that it's a new experience. So you have to get a little bit used to it. So when you have that feeling of like, I don't know, check in if it's really that you don't like this experience or if it's just a new experience that you are uncomfortable with because it is new. Yeah, so let me just also summarize maybe this part for tips to getting started with something, next project, or if you're just starting out. Any software out there you can get for free, as in a free trial, a free version. You do not have to pay for that. If you're going to make costs for something else, think about how you can balance it out so that it will be just a learning experience, so that it will be just to try it out. Yeah, because then also like that you don't like blow if it doesn't work out. It's less because you're like, I didn't lose a shit ton of money. And do it for yourself. So when you start something, do it for yourself because you just want to see if you like it and because you're just curious how it is, what it is. And it's okay if you don't like it. But if you think, I don't like it, check in with yourself. Do you not like it because it really sucks? And again, you can still then write down what you don't like about it, right? And then learn from it. And maybe just change. Or because you're just uncomfortable with this new thing. And then again, we write down what doesn't work, what we don't like about it, or just what felt uncomfortable. And then we go from there. Yeah, I think that's all of it. I don't know, maybe I should summarize everything one more time, but like very shortly to just make sure you go away with like, I got this, no excuses. I'm gonna get started on my next project right away. So the more you practice, the better you become at the thing you do. It's never just one thing when you are growing into something. There will always be like the good stuff and the bad stuff. So keep writing them down, keep changing it up, keep getting better at it. And if you're starting out with something, remember there's always free stuff. Remember, if you make costs, try to balance them out so that it's just a learning experience, whatever happens. Do it for yourself, stay curious, and if you don't like it, change it and check in if it's really not liking or if it's just an uncomfortable feeling. And no excuses, get started. Whatever it is that you wanted to discover, wanted to explore, just play with it. So I think that is the end of this episode. And I think now we're all ready to get started with a new project. And I am leading by example. This is already episode 2 of this season with videos. So I'm doing the thing that I'm talking about in this episode. So I wish you a lot of fun and moments of learning. So I'm not saying like, it's gonna suck. But more like, I wish you fun and play and exploration on this next journey that you're going to go on. And if you don't mind, you can definitely share. You can send me a DM on Instagram, share it in your stories and tag me, stuff like that. You can find my Instagram down somewhere below. All right, that's it for today. So keep playing, spread your magic, and I think you're awesome.